So what we are talking about today is how to enjoy the process, enjoy the grind, enjoy the fact that it is something that is sometimes so difficult to be able to do. There's sometimes I remember being able to force myself to get out of bed in the morning where I'm just like, oh, I gotta go and train and it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna have to go lift, I'm gonna have to go run, and I have to go get in some work on the technical side of the game. And it is difficult. It is hard. And then especially if you're a younger player and you're going to school at the same time, it's very difficult to be able to have that same level of motivation and that same desire and the same drive to be able to do that. And that's where I think it's sometimes good to kind of be able to shift your mindset and shift your focus. So this is really important for young players. So much sometimes it's like they want to be in a results processed uh, focus, and it is easy to do. I think all of us want to. We want to say, if we put in this amount of work, then this is going to be the result. And so if I do this, this is going to happen in this amount of time. And then now I'm going to be able to achieve what I want. So maybe, for example, you put in a lot of work with the goal or the end result of being able to make it to the highest level team at your club. And, or maybe you're trying out for an academy level team or whatever it may be. You're trying out for one of these levels, and it's the result is the most important thing for you. So you're training, you're grinding, and you're putting in hours after hours after hours, and you have your motivation is extremely high. And you get to the trials and you do play your very best, and unfortunately you're not picked. And it's so easy from there to say, oh, well, I'm done. Well, I played, I did all the work, and I didn't make this up. I actually had a player who came to me and said, coach, well, now I put in all this work and I didn't make the team. So now I'm just kind of just moping. And I had to kind of snap him out. Like, so what, all that work doesn't matter? Or like, look at how much you've improved over these last 3 months getting ready for that trial. Look at how much you are in a great opportunity right now to be able to really show that what you can do. And after a while, after me talking to him and giving him encouragement, he kind of perked up out of it and he kind of was like, okay, you're right, coach. I still have an opportunity. And I think that's the main thing. You have to be able to understand that this is not an end result. You may reach a point and hit a plateau and be able to say, man, I've accomplished so much. But the greatest players, the best players, the more consistent players, the ones who are like, okay, great, I'm enjoying this. Now it's time to move on. So how did they get to that point? How did they fall in love with the game? How did they fall in love with the process of working? And I think it just comes down to, I think for some of them, it is innate. Like some people just love the process of working. But I think of a quote a lot, which is from a writer who I really enjoy. And she essentially said that it's not about motivation, it's about habits, right? The fact of the matter is that the reason that she was such a prolific writer was because she had habits. She said, it doesn't matter if I was motivated or not. I had a habit of getting up every morning at 3 a.m. and writing from 3 to 4, and then getting ready to go off to work. And she would do this year after year after year. And she said, not because I wanted to, but because I had to get writing done. And I knew that if I went off to work before when I came back from work, I would have no desire to do it. And it was so interesting to hear that because for me, that oftentimes my motivation waxed and waned. And I'm sure it's the same thing with you or with your player, but you really have to understand that it is one of these things that, yeah, motivation is going to wax and wane, but do you have habits built in? Uh, do you have the reasons that you have this habit? So like, what goals are you trying to achieve? If I speak of this writer, she had a list of goals, and I'll link it down because it was really interesting to see like even a writer who's not necessarily in the sports world, she was still had these goals. And it was for her, it was to be able to care for her mother. It was to never have to worry about financial issues again, to be able to travel when she wanted to. She had all these goals, and she knew that she had to work and to put in the time to, and she also wanted to tell stories that were for people that weren't always had stories told for them. And I just thought that was so cool. And I think that's something really important. Understand what the reason that you're doing this. Understand why you're putting in all of this work. And then from there, make habits that you just can't break. And that's the same thing that I would say to you as a player, that you're gonna have to make some habits and do some things that you're not gonna want to do. But after a while, you'll get so used to it that you just literally, it feels weird when you're not doing it. I know for me, when I am out of not doing, if I travel, if I go somewhere and I'm not training, it just feels weird. Like I feel my body feels like it has some weird energy that just can't go away. So for me, it's really important for me to be able to stick to those habits. And the same thing, I think, for your player, understand that it's gonna be, it's not gonna be right away. There's always something that you can improve at. It's not gonna happen for you today. It's not gonna necessarily happen for you tomorrow. It might not happen for a week or a month or a year, but fall in love with trying to get better. Fall in love with saying, okay, I can do this a little bit faster. I can be a little bit cleaner. I can get my head up. I can work on my balance, my coordination. If we're just talking about skill work, right? There's so many other aspects and parts of the game that you can really focus on. And if you are willing and able to do that, then you are going to be so comfortable, and you're gonna understand why I'm putting myself through this, why I'm putting myself through this tough situation. So I would say this, to be able to enjoy the process, number one is understand your why about it. Number two, have habits that are going to be able to keep you on track. And then finally, understand that it's not it is a result oriented business, but it's a journey oriented business. So if you take care of doing things the right way, if you focus on the journey of improvement, then you're going to go way further than somebody who's always just saying, well, what was the result? What's the result? What's the result? Because after a while, you get to a point and you're just like, well, it's not worth it because I'm not either seeing the results, or you may have achieved all the results. And now you lost the motivation for it. But if you focus on the process of improving, then man, you're going to be able to go way further. So please let me know if you agree.